Hi, I'm Sarah Hayden. I'm here today with William Shuttleworth, who's going to be doing an amazing trip in the support of veterans and veterans issues. I'm going to let William tell you more about it. He's a retired educator. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let him talk about the trip a bit, and then we can get into some of the details.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, I was in the Air Force for 6 years, and the last couple of years I've been having a lot of conversations with retired veterans and vets that served in the military during the Vietnam and Afghan-Iraqi war, coming back with some pretty sad stories of not having the services that they needed. And it occurred to me that I could actually do something about that. So next Wednesday, May 15th at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to start walking across America and ending up in Vandenberg Air Force Base, God willing, in California, with the intent of raising the consciousness of policy and legislation needed to support our veterans that really so ably serve this country.
Yes, I myself, I'm not a veteran, but I've heard so many stories and just met people, and with Dick George, who's always here supporting the veterans. It's just incredible how little they are helped and how many suicides there are and homelessness and all of these things, and I think it's awesome what you're doing, and if I could get off for 7 months, I would be right behind you.
Well, the only way I can do it now is that I am retired. I'm 71 and I'll be 72 in September. And while I still am really healthy and in good shape, I said, well, this is the time to do it right now. And the opportunity of walking from town to town and meeting veterans and their families and elected officials really excites me in terms of that's how a change is actually made in America.
I think it's incredible. So if someone wants to follow you or join you for a portion of the walk or talk to you, is there a way that they can find you?
Well, there should be. I have a website, vetsdon'tforgetvets.com, and I will be posting my position almost on a daily basis if I can. It's pretty hard to figure out exactly where I will be. I'll be posting my walking map on my website. But I'm going to average about 20 to 25 miles a day, depending on weather and health and speaking engagements and whatever we need to do to take care of it. But my intent is to move forward, going west, and be there by November 1st at the latest.
That's incredible. And you're open to people accompanying you?
I'd love that. Wouldn't that be nice if a veteran wanted to walk for 2 or 3 miles, or a kid, or
That'd be awesome.
An old man or woman that served in the military during me? I just think it'd be lovely. I'm also hoping to meet folks from the American Legions and the VFWs and all the airborne divisions out there. There's a raft of veterans services out there that sometimes are loosely connected, but this is an opportunity of gaining momentum on a national cause. And I know that sounds grandiose, but change actually can happen.
Oh no, I think
with one idea.
Yes, I think you're onto something, and I think that people are going to want to follow and help any way they can, because there are a lot of people that feel that the veterans are not paid attention to. I mean, you have brought up that they're a very small percentage of Congress.
Right.
You have the data on that, and they're all a very small percentage of our population. I think it's 0.04%.
Yes, it's a very small percentage of people that have veterans, but yet almost everyone has had some contact with a veteran, and everyone certainly has benefited by having veterans.
Well, of course, we all benefit.
That's
they
right.
preserve our freedom.
Exactly.
Without veterans and without active military and people ready to protect us and protect this country, I just don't. We would not be where we are. So I think it's really time to bring them into the forefront.
I do too. In 1970, 78% of Congress members had served in the military. Today it's less than 8%.
Wow.
And with all the other priorities and politicization of events in our society right now, I'm afraid that if we don't have spokespeople advocating for the needs of veterans, it's going to be shifted to a back page, and that we'll forget that those services are really needed.
Yes, and I think too that they're often, you had on your website, you've mentioned about the pay, the benefits are low. And I had run into this with somebody that I know who was a vet and a friend of hers, or I was talking to a mother or something like that, and her daughter couldn't even get the benefits that she needed.
I know.
It was outrageous. And then another one, I heard that they had to pay for their meals on, it was like an aircraft carrier, and they had to pay for certain meals, and I was like, pay for their meals out of their check? Are you kidding me?
Well, a young person joining the military today with a child and a wife qualifies for food stamps. There's something un-American about that to me. Willing to give and sacrifice your life, even though you volunteered to do that, you are placing yourself in a position of great danger under the wrong circumstances. That should be compensated at a rate that the family doesn't have to be worried about putting food and milk on the table.
Yes, it should be a reasonable rate.
Exactly.
There's a lot of skill that's involved,
There
even
is.
for the most basic infantry person. There's a lot of skill, a lot of skill.
Yeah,
And
I'd like to see the pay for enlisted men and women to be significantly higher than it is. The officers' pay scale seems to be more than adequate and quite comparable, but it's the enlisted man that usually ends up doing the tough jobs. Their pay is very low.
Well, I think that more, it's possible that more people could be attractive to this as a career. And I think it's a really noble and wonderful career that has a lot of, I think has a lot of opportunity, a lot of education, a lot of high-tech stuff that is involved in the military. But, you know, if they're not paying, they're not going to go.
Right. And if you did make the military an attractive employment opportunity, it would also increase the physical awareness of young people today to stay active. I don't know if you realize this, but 75% of high school graduates do not meet the physical requirements to join the military.
I had heard that,
Isn't
yes.
that amazing?
Yes.
And that we live in a pretty comfortable couch potato life. And so if we ever,
God
hopefully
forbid.
never, needed to deploy millions of young Americans, we may not have enough that are physically able to do that job.
Yes.
And if we made the military attractive option, kids would say, I want to engage in the Presidential Fitness Award, I want to stay active, I want to be able to run that marathon.
Yeah, I think there's something that younger people have lost in the idea of service to the country. You know, it's hard, they're just, they do not understand what you gain in yourself from being physically fit, being able to take orders or be able to work your way up so that you can be the one that's in charge.
Right.
There's something that really builds your self-esteem from the inside. It's not click, click, click. You're not going to get it.
It does. I have a nephew that was really an at-risk kid. He's 50 years old today. And I was talking to him the other day and I said, what was the reason that you became so successful? And he quickly said, Uncle William, it was the military.
Yeah, I have never heard someone say,
it was the military.
I regret
It gave
going
me
into the
structure,
military.
it gave me a sense of respect, it gave me self-esteem, and I took that as a civilian and became successful.
yes, I don't.
And it doesn't have to be military. I mean, I would like to propose that every high school graduate be required to give 2 years of service to America. Now, that could be the Red Cross, it could be Habitat for Humanity, it could be the Peace Corps, a hospital, a nursing home. But wouldn't that be great if every American saw that as the price you pay, a small price, for the great freedoms and countries that we have?
I think it would be helpful.
It would be wonderful.
It would also provide more opportunities for young people to see what's out there.
It would be
Many are,
mind
yes,
expanding.
many are, I think, have, you know, our technology, I think, is great. It's given a lot of things that we do rely on, like our ability to follow you, for example, but it's also taken a lot away, I think, from young people, and they're just a little bit more disconnected than I would like to see anyway, and I think it would be great to offer that, to have it mandatory. I think it's hard in America to say, oh, mandatory, but it's for the better of all of us. It's for them. I would be willing to do it as a senior. I mean, you know,
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, that would actually would be good too. We could join.
So maybe there would be a window between 20 and 50. You could spend your 2 years giving back to America that was so good to you to provide the freedoms that we all have.
I think that sounds wonderful. There were some suggestions you had, 5 things that you wanted to accomplish or bring to awareness. Maybe you can.
Well, one of them is clearly to make sure that we do what we can to elect veterans, to put that platform out there that veterans are going to be careful to make sure that legislation is filtered through the eyes of how it's going to affect veterans. Homeless is another one, Sarah. 25% of all homeless men and women in America are veterans. Tragic, isn't it?
Oh, it's.
So my goal would be to eliminate veteran homelessness by 2030, and we have the resources to do it. We don't have the will. Raising the pay of enlisted men is very important.
I mean, that's another service that can be offered, is to offer to young people to learn how to go build affordable housing for people to be able to live in. It's a problem all over, and veterans are really suffering.
There would be.
But
I'd like to raise the pay for starting enlisted men. I think that would be very, very important. I also want to make sure that the veterans who have served that do not qualify for veteran benefits because they weren't in long enough, but were drafted during wartime, have lifetime medical benefits, because more than likely they will have a greater need for medical care, and right now that's not the case.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to see veteran medical care expanded greatly, so that right now as a veteran, you can wait up to 9 to 12 months to be seen at a VA hospital.
Wow, that's just.
And if we privatize Veterans Administration, which a lot of politicians are trying to do, you're really probably going to see a major compromise in how those services are delivered, because they'll be outsourced to agencies and to programs for profit instead of taking a look for benefit to the servicemen.
Yeah, I think it's so sad the way our veterans are treated.
It is. I'd like to see that every director of veteran services to be a veteran. Right now they're not. They're hedge funds managers.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know that.
That's a very sad thing. And not that they are very bright and capable people, but they do not have that core inner experience of what it's like to be out there.
Yeah, it's very important. I do see, I have noticed there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are nonprofit organizations that have been picking up the slack, and that's great that people are doing that, but why is there a need to do that?
You should not be having bake sales and church suppers to support the needs of veterans. It should be really embedded in the way that we fund America, and it's actually a very small percentage of that national budget.
No, and it's a smart idea. It keeps our country safe. It keeps us sharp and ready for what may happen, and it also keeps us ready for the potential of issues that we are facing with climate. I'm sorry, that is.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of veterans that are the ones that show up to help people, because they are trained, they know what they're doing, they know how to organize. It's always very impressive.
Exactly. Well, I'm hoping that in the 500 or more towns that I come through, large and small, the 10 million steps that it actually takes to get to California, we're going to be meeting an awful lot of great people that would like to be part of a movement to say, let's fix what's wrong with the veterans, because they deserve it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for telling us your story. And for people who want to follow you, the website is vetsdon'tforgetvets.com.
That's right.
And you also have a Facebook page.
I have a Facebook page, and I also, on my website, have a button that you can push for GoFundMe. And any resources that I create, which I would greatly appreciate, will go toward the Disabled American Veterans. Again, a nonprofit organization not connected to the military that is totally devoted to restoring the physical and mental welfare of veterans.
That's wonderful. Yes, I'm determined to walk with you somewhere along your path.
I hope I see you.
I don't know where it will be, but I have made that a promise to myself, because I think it's so important.
Well, Kansas is a long, lonely stretch. Maybe sometime in Kansas you could join me.
Some people have asked, what about those big, empty, long places? I mean, you're just going to sleep, you're sleeping outside?
Yes, I'm sleeping outside unless someone's gracious enough to invite me in for dinner and a night. But I have my backpack. It weighs 23 pounds, and everything I need for the next 7 months is in that backpack. My kitchen, my living room, and my bedroom is in that pack.
So if people see you walking along the road
and want to stop and say hello, please. If they want to have dinner with me, I would love that. If they have an extra bedroom on a rainy night, I would really love that.
Sure. Oh, well, I'm sure people are going to worry about your safety too.
Yes, they are, and I don't actually worry much about my safety. I think that once you abandon fear and safety, everything and every opportunity you ever want exists.
Well, that's a very good thing to say. I'm going to keep that in mind.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I think it's so important, and I'm right behind you.
Thank you, Sarah.
I will be seen, and we're going to try to follow you,
Great.
and hopefully we can connect on the phone, and then maybe put that on SoundCloud too for
That'd be
people
great.
to hear.
Well, thank you for your time. Nice to see you.
It's really wonderful. Thank you for watching PortMedia Open Studios here in Newburyport with William Shuttleworth. This is where it will all begin, and we hope to see a huge groundswell by the time he gets to California. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Williams Walk is sponsored by the 101st Airborne Division Association, Massachusetts home-based chapter. For more information, go to www.screamingeaglesma.org.